Hey everyone, welcome back to the BVTV channel, and today's topic in Dead by Daylight is going to be none other than the Executioner, as we did his counterpart Cheryl Mason in last week's video. For this Tuesday, we're going to be covering the Executioner. So let's get right into it, shall we? A sadistic and merciless executioner, Pyramid Head is fixated on dispensing punishment through pain. Encumbered by the steel frame upon his head, with a hulking great blade in tow, he stalked the hellish corridors of Silent Hill, committed to a duty that no one truly understood. Where he trod, even monsters fled for the shadows, and those who crossed his path fell victim to unrestrained acts of aggression. When his duty was complete and his presence no longer needed, he prepared for the long rest, and yet his skills were required elsewhere. The fog that streamed over him was somehow different than that he was accustomed to in Silent Hill, as if each wisp contained the nerves of a creature, writhing, seeking him out. There was an unspoken agreement in that moment. The billowing cloud was an invitation to duty and sadism, and Pyramid Head, stepping into the fog, accepted his obligation once more. Now, I really liked the short story here of Pyramid Head. Now, I had to ask a couple people a little bit more about Pyramid Head. Pyramid Head technically is a figment of imagination in some degree. Those of you who played Silent Hill, you guys know a lot more. And I'm still trying to touch up on Pyramid Head, but I will say this. The whole concept of Pyramid Head being more of a psychological thing, to where you're being put through this trial because you are felt off of guilt and the guilt that you've done, and until you're able to live with that guilt and overcome that guilt and constantly have it weigh you down. That's what he's there for. He's there to put you in a trial of judgment. So speaking of everything about Pyramid Head itself, with the rites of judgment, trial of judgment, the caves of atonement, all those things kind of manifest inside your brain, kind of. So it's really cool to see psychologically. This killer is more of a psychological mind-messing killer, a mind-messing story, more of a it's based off your own guilt. And I feel like a lot of people in real life have so much guilt about small and big things that it can really destroy a person. And low-key, it's kind of like, that's kind of where I really like this story and this killer so much, because it's based off of guilt. And I think a lot of people sometimes are too hard on themselves, or are just too down and can no longer see anything positive, because that guilt has altered their perception of reality. And so this killer does a great job of kind of tying that in with real life, and it's actually why I really like it. It ties in with a lot of real life situations where guilt is such a heavy thing. And me as a person, I know me, I can't have guilt. If I feel like I've done something wrong, I have to talk to you about it, to whoever it was, and I have to, we have to make amends or something. I can't just let it sit there, because it does bother me. So, and a killer like that, for someone like me, wouldn't survive that type of realm, because of just the concept, again, of guilt and how much it weighs. And it's insane to really see how deep this killer is. I love how the fact they tie in the Silent Hill fog, and how he's also, he's accustomed to fog, and how this one was different. Like, this one was like, seeking him out, not necessarily like, hey, come do this. But this entity of this fog was seeking him out, trying to lure him into going into the realm of the entity. So just so many cool little unspoken, not even unspoken, just cool little small factors. And you could even tie in the agreement, as I said, when we talked about who is the entity, about how he makes agreements with people. And this is, again, another case of the entity making an agreement with the killer. Same thing, similar to how it did with the spirit, Ren. So there's a lot of cool things how they're able to tie in small little nitpick factors of their own game, and also the other games of Silent Hill in the movies, and put it into their game, and make it a full-on story, and make it be believable. So I was really kind of happy that this killer got put in. I didn't know what to expect from it, but this story and the way the killer operates is really good. So I think we kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent here. So what we're gonna do is, folks, please do, if you like the story, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to BVTV, We'll see you next time, everybody. Stay off the hook.